Introducing aPriori.
So I'm going to talk about a couple different things here. I'm going to give you a quick overview on who Woodward is and labor challenges. When I talk about labor challenges, I'm going to talk primarily to the machining world, right? So that's a big piece of what aPriori software you guys are using it for, right? So that's what I'll be talking about. We'll talk about digital factories, what I'm doing with emerging regions, and then cobots, right? Was anybody at IMTS 8 weeks ago in Chicago? A couple hands. How many cobots did you see out there? Thousands probably, right? Every shop or every display had a cobot, or almost every display had a cobot. So Woodward At A Glance, we're about $2.25 billion, roughly about 8,000 members or employees as we call them. We're about 2/3 aerospace, 1/3 industrial, big customers, Boeing, Airbus, all the big names out there. On the industrial side, Caterpillar, Wärtsilä, other companies like that. 152 years old, so Carrier was 100, we're 152, sorry Tristan. Started in 1870. First name of the company was Woodward Governor, right? Made a water wheel governor, first patent for the company. We're headquartered in beautiful Fort Collins, Colorado, about an hour north of Denver. So what we kind of look at is energy conversion and control. We make systems, primarily aerospace and industrial, like I said earlier. Most of the planes you guys flew in on probably had one of our fuel systems. It landed, you heard the thrust reversers kick in, is probably one of our systems. So a lot of stuff that we make you guys see every day or you feel every day, you might not know our name exactly though. So digital transformation, we're all talking about that right this week here as we're walking through the software and what everybody's doing with it. So this is one of our top slides on digital transformation within Woodward. I'm going to talk about 3 areas here. I'm going to talk about cobotics, increasing velocity, and then faster growth with fewer members. That's what the future is going to look like. We just have to embrace it and move forward with that. The next slide. Look at that comment in blue there. Think about this for a second. Today, 75% of machinists in the US are 45 years old or older. What's that mean to you? I know you guys probably all buy machine parts, or your companies do. What's that mean? What's it going to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? It's not going to get any better. We all know that. The machinist trade has not been something that the high schools have been pushing people into for the last probably 30 or 40 years. Now we're feeling it. We all knew this was happening. We all knew this was going to hit us. COVID helped accelerate this a little bit. We had a lot of people retire out of our shops, out of our supplier shops. What are we going to do different? How can we meet the challenge to this crisis that's hitting our way here? And then in addition, the market's rebounded. Aerospace, industrial markets, everybody's back up. Cost of capital for the last, how many years? 7, 8 years has been pretty cheap. So people can buy equipment, they can buy tools, they can buy everything they need. But if we don't have the people to run the machines, it doesn't make a difference. It's not going to help you, right? You're going to have all these machines sitting out there. So I deal with hundreds of machine shops across the US, anywhere from a 30-person shop up to probably a 300-person shop. So I've got people all over that spectrum, and they're all having the same problems. I've probably been to 30 of them in the last 2 months. They all have a sign out front, now hiring machinists. Heck, we've got a sign out front, now hiring machinists. It's a problem. No one's getting around this at this point. We've got to figure out what we can do differently. So we've got 3 things that are on our plate that we're working on from the supply chain side: digital factories, emerging regions, and cobotics. So this is a little bit of an interesting slide here. So my dad was in purchasing 40, 50 years ago. What did he do back then, right? So the blue is their engineering, red is supply chain, right? He walked down to engineering, got 3 prints, folded them up, put them in 3 envelopes, mailed it out to 3 suppliers. I see a lot of heads nodding. You guys all know what I'm talking about, right? Couple phone calls, this, that, and the other thing, 5, 6 weeks, get a quote back, mailed to you. Mailbox, the supply chain guy gets it, it's on his desk for a week or 2, 3, figures out which way he's going to go, who he's going to negotiate with, what have you, makes the award. We're looking at about 3 months. It takes a long time. Where are we at today? I'm not proud to put this up here, but where are we at today? Now, design engineering emails me to print. Then we email it to 3 suppliers, right? a couple phone calls, they email me a response back. A couple weeks, make a decision, who you're going to negotiate with, make an award. We're about 10, 11 weeks. I cut out 2 weeks. Where did I cut the 2 weeks out? USPS, right? That's it. So I'm not proud to admit this, but that's what happens today. So where are we moving? We're moving to digital factories with aPriori, obviously, where we negotiate labor, overheads, and margin. We've got their equipment list. We all know what they can make, but we negotiate that stuff early on. We select them before the design's done, and then it's a quick, follow-up, and a week later, we're ordering parts. So that's where we're going, say 10 to 1, right? 10 weeks down to about 1 week is really what we're trying to push here. So this is going to be a little bit of a build slide here. We'll talk through a couple of these, but what's the current environment for RFQs with the supply base right now? The guys doing the quoting at the suppliers, they're typically machinists, historically, right? They're on the quoting desk. They're figuring out, I got to buy this raw material. I got to cut it. I got to run it through that operation. So they work all this time putting these quotes together. So, where am I sitting here? Hey, I need something really quick. Supplier, need an extension. Need a shorter lead time. Supplier, I don't have capability for this part, capacity for this part. Short-term help. These RFQs, can't do them. Got the wrong guy. I want to make a long-term award. Supplier's like, I got to use my resources to make parts that I'm already on contract with. How am I going to justify that price that I got back? Supplier, that's what the market is. Too bad. Price looks high. Suppliers complain. They don't get feedback on their quotes. Just lack of resources on my side, their side, everywhere else. Just give me a bid. Just go away. This part doesn't fit their capabilities. RFQs aren't personalized to their shop. It's a spattering of, we're going with 3 guys and trying to figure out what we can get. Hundreds of RFQs. Stop sending them. Thousands of part numbers. I would just put another no quote in if I'm the supplier. I need production parts now. I need help now. Suppliers, RFQs are taking a lot of my time and resources. I can't use my guys to do quotes for you anymore. And then for me, policy says I need 3 bids. And the supplier's coming back, yeah, but I'm getting about a 7 to 10% win rate. Because sometimes it's actually 3 bids for a brand new part. Sometimes it's market checks. Hey, where are things at? And across the board, it's just labor constraints or resource constraints on both sides. So we are building digital factories with some of our key suppliers right now. And I talked a little bit about this last year when I was doing a virtual presentation last year. Really, the digital factory is really pretty simple, right? Equipment list, what kind of parts can they make? Let's negotiate the labor rates, overheads, and margin, right? We've tried to make this as simple as we possibly can with our suppliers. So, and then I'm looking at open capability and capacity, right? I say it's a machine shop. Tristan, it's a machine shop. What do they make? Everything. They don't make everything under the sun. They might be a 5-axis guy. It might be a Swiss guy. It might be a 2-axis guy. They might be all over the place, right? But we're sending quotes, and sometimes we hit it, sometimes we don't. We're not having that feedback from the supply base. Hey, I bought 3 brand new pieces of Swiss equipment. I've got room for, 10,000 hours of Swiss time. That's the kind of conversations we're having with our supply base now, right? We've got to figure out where their open capacity is, and obviously what capability they have, right? So we're modeling parts that fit that supplier's open capacity and putting parts there that make sense. And then obviously with using aPriori, we're also getting some of the other stuff, right? We can give them the suggested routing, how to make the part, the tool list, right? If I give you a design and it's a machined housing, you've got to sit there and backwards just kind of engineer it and figure out what tools I need to make all those features on that part, right? So we've been giving them the tool list lately, and they're loving the response, or they're loving the feedback they're getting from us. So, and then the key with this is we're giving them about 1 week to come back and acknowledge and accept the award. So we've gone from 10 to 1. I was going to say that a couple times, but so digital factory, I always talk scope, schedule, budget, right? So we're identifying parts that fit that supplier's capability and capacity. 10 to 1. We're going from a 10-week lead time down to 1 week, and we're doing it pretty consistently right now, so we're very happy with what we're seeing. And then on the budget or resource side of it here, you know, let me use my example. I had a machine shop with 30 machinists. He had 5 guys on his quoting desk, just doing quoting. Gone to him and said, hey, I don't need 4 of those guys. I need 1 guy for like 3 hours a week. Put the other 4 guys on the machine shop floor where they can actually add value to that company, right? So that's actually been one of the big changes we're starting to see with some of the suppliers here. If they put those folks back on the machine shop floor, it might be a 10% improvement on their available labor, but for them, it might be the difference between making money and not making money, right? So it's actually working pretty well. And then on my side, instead of quoting 3 guys, we're quoting 1, or we're self-quoting 1. And that takes a lot of time off of my guys' shoulders of having to respond to questions from those other 2 suppliers, right? So it's a one-to-one relationship versus one-to-many. So the joint benefits, obviously, we're digital partnering with our key suppliers here. Quoting efforts are significantly reduced, moving those people back to the shop floor. If we send them the self-quote, they're going to win it. I'd like to have 100% return rate. I'm actually about 93, 94 right now, so we're getting there. It's going to be it'll be 100 before we get through this. And then we're having the higher level negotiations with the suppliers, right? Labor, overhead, margin. That's all I need to work on. I've got their equipment list. I know what they can make. My team's got 40,000 machine part numbers. There's no way I can negotiate 40,000 machine parts. I can negotiate at a higher level, and I can run it through a digital factory. Then on the Woodward side, like I said, that 10 to 1, like I said before, and you know, 1 to many, and I'm guaranteed that the price is fair and reasonable. At least I know what the bottoms-up cost model is. Emerging regions, that's another area we're going after. A lot of these regions, Southeast Asia, India, are not having labor constraint problems, so we're really focusing on that. We're going to move more parts in this year than we have in the last 10 years to our Asia partners over there. And we're doing it through self-quoting digital factories. Cobots. So like I said, anybody went to IMTS, every display had a cobot in it, or almost every display had a cobot in it. It's kind of a quick and easy way to augment the supply base. We are doing this internally, and we're pushing and helping our suppliers move in this direction also at this point, and it's going to be very, very important for where we're going to be in 2, 3, 5, 10 years. So we're actually using the self-quoting aspect of this to build part families. So we start with material type, and then we go with material or part size, and then the tooling package, right? Some of these machines can only hold 50 tools or 100 tools or 200 tools, whatever it is. So we can build a part package. Obviously, I have the annual volumes. I know what that is. Machining time, I get that from aPriori, right? So I put together a package of 5,000 to 6,000 hours a year as one package. It's all or nothing, basically, at that point, right? But the nice part about that is some of these suppliers have actually justified buying equipment, putting it in a cell, and then ultimately we're going to move to probably a 6 to 8 machine to man ratio out on the shop floor from a 1 to 2 to 1 today, right? So you might have 1 machinist with 2 machines. We think we can get to a 6 to 8 roughly to 1 ratio. So that's also going to help us with our labor shortage challenge that we've got coming up here. So kind of in summary here, we're going at this from a couple different angles. Like I said, digital factories, we're getting a lot of great response from our suppliers that we're working with on this, and the self-quoting aspect. Emerging regions, and then like I said, cobots are going to be the other important thing on this. And you know, the other piece, so didn't talk about year 3 here, but as we move into our 3rd year of using aPriori, we're going to be really focused on the AP Generate. I guess there's a new name for it now, but the overnight modeling, and then obviously expanding the cobot operation, and we're working with aPriori right now on building a digital factory with a cobot. So hopefully that's something we'll see in the future in the standard offering. And then one other piece we're working on is scrap recovery, right? Raw materials have been super expensive last 2 years or so. I mean, I've got parts that are Inconel or titanium, where the raw material starting point, which is in the model, is 40 pounds, and my finished part is 4. So, I mean, we've been talking about it a little bit with some of the AP folks, but that's something that we've got to make sure we're capturing, whatever percentages of the scrap recovery is, but that's something that's very important for us now. So that's it.
aPriori, making profitability and sustainability a reality for a better world. aPriori, making profitability and sustainability a reality for a better world.